Hello, everybody, and welcome to our TTV coverage of the Hero Factory Invasion from Below 2014 Webisode movie. I can't really call it a TV special anymore because it's not on TV. So
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So,
it was barely ever on TV anyway.
uh,
When it was, they never promoted it. So they
it
made
was
us.
more like a TV special as opposed to an actual TV show.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like a mini movie in that regard. But
So today
you
I
know,
am joined with LJ and Kahi. Say hello.
Hey.
hello.
It is a shame more people could not be here, but I think that we can carry this on our own. So, just a bit of a primer before we start this. This has been a rather crazy day as far as Hero Factory is concerned. With the website launch and the game coming out, I'd like to clear up a bit of misconception just before we do this. We may make a separate video about this later because it would get more attention, but I just want to say this. On Hero Factory's new website layout, they have an Invasion from Below mini movie in the video section, and it's roughly 5 minutes long. And it's basically a super condensed, shortened version of the actual episode. And for some reason, they chose to create this thing and put it in the videos section, where most people would go to look. And unbeknownst to 99% of people, the actual 22-minute episode can actually be viewed, but it has to be viewed through the game. And you have to beat the tutorial level and then go to the main menu and you can watch the movie from the game menu instead of the videos tab. And nobody knows why they did this, but I'm seeing, and it's spreading like wildfire, so we have to do our part to try to curb this before it becomes popular opinion, and it's hard to correct that there is no 22-minute special. They lied. It's a 5-minute thing, and it's only the only thing available. No. If you beat the tutorial level of the Invasion from Below game, it is viewable. At least for the United Kingdom website. I've seen some people in Germany saying that they have problems with it. I'd love to help you. I don't really know what to say. Hopefully someone will rip it and upload it to YouTube eventually. But with that being said, let's get on to reviewing this thing. So, hands down, the biggest factor of controversy today, and it would behoove us to get this out of the way first, the change in voice acting cast.
Ugh.
Now, there are two sides
It's
to this
perfectly fine.
coin. Some people are okay with it, some people loathe it, but regardless, it came as a shock to a good amount of people. Although really it shouldn't have. I don't know why the thought didn't cross my mind before, but it's being made by Ghost, not Tinseltown Tunes. So the voice actors that are contracted to work for Tinseltown Tunes probably wouldn't take part in this Ghost project. However, Garanui claims that the German episode actually has the old German voices for some reason. So I don't know what the deal is
I would
there.
assume that the foreign stuff is actually headed by Lego.
Yeah.
Lego is the one that ends up translating all the things. They basically the studio records in English and they send that and the script over to the departments to be localized. So from what I would assume, that's where that whole thing is coming from.
Makes sense. So the entire voice cast has been changed. None of the prior voice actors are still there. There is a grand total of 5 people that did the voice acting for this special. That's all characters. The side characters, the civilians, the beasts, sound effects. Well, those probably weren't voiced. Those were, digitalized and whatnot. But the heroes, voiced by 5 people, they did like 2 voices, 2 voice actors per character, except for Breeze, who obviously gets standalone. And it's controversial to say the least, because this is my opinion. I know you're of a different one, Kahi. I think
Yeah.
the good majority of them either sound the same, probably because they are the same. There's 2 voices, 2 voice actors per character, or not distinct enough as compared to the old voices. I
Yeah,
actually
and
like
I
some of them better than their old voices. I'm not gonna lie. I like Rocka's voice actor far better than his older one. I like Breeze's far better than her older one. My complaints are not of the voice acting quality. I think that's fine. It's just the fact that they're not as distinct as they used to be.
I guess I completely disagree because I don't think the heroes were ever all that distinct to begin with. The voices had their own kind of
I'll
interesting thing
counter
to them.
this. I'll counter disagree. They were very distinct, honestly. At least the initial ones. Stringer probably the most out of all of them with his country twang.
Which is why I guess
Yeah,
I'm glad he
That's
wasn't
what
here.
I mean. Yeah, I don't think like Stringer, he didn't have a personality. He just had an accent.
And no.
He
I
had a
disagree.
personality.
Yeah, no, they had pretty distinct personalities.
That's
and
another
accents.
thing which is missing from this episode, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
I disagree. What you have is basically you have rookie guy, you have leader guy, you have female guy, and you have guy that gets stuff done. And that's that's Ferno, that's Stormer, that's Breeze, and that's Rocka, and that's it. That's it. Everybody else just has a funny accent.
Well, the thing is, it was a lot more varied in the initial ones because you had Stringer and Bulk, and they were the main reinforcements to Stormer, who was the leader, and Inferno was
that's their function. What kind of personality is that?
We're not talking about personalities. We're talking about voicing and the distinctions. Stringer, whether you argue this is a big deal or not, the fact of the matter is Bulk has the stereotypical dumb guy voice. Stringer's a redneck, country guy. Stormer's leader. Forno is rookie. Breeze is girl. Surge is like barracks. Evo flopped around a lot, so I don't really count him. That's why I didn't mind this voice. It actually sounded almost identical to his old voice, but he originally had like a Japanese accent. Dex was Australian, and he's apparently dead and has been channeled by Surge, who is now Australian. And then Rocka had like a New Jersey accent.
Yeah.
Now they all sound like generic people that don't really have much distinction between them.
Yeah. Didn't you watch the original one?
That's what I believe. I believe that they didn't have this. Well, basically what you said is basically true. Outside of the five, what I said before is that the characters didn't have original characters to begin with.
Well, that is a completely separate matter. And that's why. And to be fair, that's
what LJ was counter arguing.
They never have. Well, they did have personalities, I believe. They were not as fleshed out as they could have been. Hero Factory's always been starved for characterization, which is why it's important that the voices were there to help add a little amount of characterization. Now that's gone, and as you will see when we get into this TV show, now they're basically devoid of any kind of personality whatsoever. They're just people. If I did not know better, I would say that this was like I would compare this to the Toamari commercial, where they're all voiced by the same dude and they're just doing things, and it's not that they have a personality, they're just doing them and they're fighting, and this. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, no, I guess it's just all right. These are the voices, like you said before. I mean, I don't see the Hero Factory characters as actual characters, and the fact that they all sound the same is just they all basically are the same outside of rookie, leader, female, and everybody else.
There were archetypes for all the characters initially. I will agree with you there. Even the voices, they were not.
The voices were archetypes too.
Basically outside of
the voices. Dumb voice, Chinese voice,
I would
black
prefer
voice,
stereotypical archetypes to non-existent.
I wouldn't. I think it's a bit more racist.
Well,
but hey,
I think it's a bit more varied. I don't think race had anything to do with it. I mean, I much more would have preferred.
Evo was a yellow guy.
Yes, and
who had a Chinese accent and had the martial arts thing. Come on, that's not racist.
However, to their credit, let's be honest though. That was during Ordeal of Fire, and that was not like it was the most fleshed out show. So to their credit, they switched it out. And hey, Jimmy Stringer is the black hero, and he has a country accent. That's not racist.
He's from the South and he's black. Like what are they trying to say here?
Okay,
let's
move on.
He's a secondary. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up as often as the main
You
character.
picked this during the Let's Play.
He's always a secondary
You found
character.
issue where there was... Okay,
the leader, the white leader.
Stop it. We're going to
saying.
talk about this a little bit more while we're ending and doing like closing thoughts, but I just wanted to preface it with that. Let's move on to the actual review.
Too much drugs, factories, racism.
What a dork.
Let's move on. Okay, so the episode starts, and we have a bunch of civilians, and they're drilling. Not for the city we know, Makuhiro City, but for another city, Antropolis City. And they're drilling, and they start getting abducted. And there's funny humor going on. It starts out strong, and I'm like actually thinking this could be funny. And the guy's like, oh, maybe they'll name the tunnel after us. And then his friends get abducted, and he's like, change my mind. I don't need a tunnel named after me. And then instantly taken away. And then Evo shows up, and there's like a Hero Factory fanboy that's like, oh, you're my favorite hero, Evo. And he's just like, oh, yeah, whatever. Do you have any more info for me? So I'm thinking, this could be pretty good. But then a thought hits me. And this has been nagging me ever since I watched the thing. So they get a call that there's people disappearing. That's all the information they have to go on. So who do they send in? They send in Evo, one of the more rookie-ish heroes. He hasn't been around for a long time. In a walker that's slow, unwieldy, and apparently not all that strong, because not 20 seconds later it's lying in a pile of rubble on the ground after it gets attacked by jumpers. My question is not why is it so weak or why does it get destroyed instantly, although that's a very good question too. Why did they send it? They don't know they're fighting giant, creatures yet, so why did they send a walker instead of a hero? Or a hero?
I have no idea. They've always sent just the heroes before. I don't know why they sent the mechs suddenly to be like, hey, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, so that was just something that bugged me, but I guess it's not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
Come on, Mesos, in order to give him the catchy one-liner, we're gonna need something bigger than me.
Battle machines. And then it fades to black, and we get a cool screen where it's like, oh, this is Hero Factory, we are dispatching blah, blah, blah. And then we have a slow motion walk with voiceovers of their names.
I mean, it's like they're doing like the Apollo 11 walk,
Yeah. I
walk
just realized
I
had another thought. They didn't once use the original Hero Factory theme song. Da 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 da.
It's the first
time. I'm so glad.
I like that song.
Yeah, I didn't mind the song.
You see, if I did not know any better.
You guys don't know.
If I did not know any better, I would say this was a rebooted Hero Factory, because there's no intro, there's new voices. They look completely different.
I mean, it basically is. It basically is. Let's face it.
It's a little late for a reboot because it's going to be ending in 2015, I think. It's like that. This is literally deja vu. This is Bionicle. This is their bar magna. Anyway, so I guess
new studio.
It really hits you when you're watching the slow motion walk. You may have forgotten. I don't know how you could. This is not made by Tinseltown Tunes. This is made by Ghost, and Ghost decided that they would change up how the heroes look. And I'm not sure I'm a fan. Being completely honest.
Everything that Ghost has done, I'm 100% beside. Except how they updated the character models. It just looks really unsettling. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's like, I don't know, but it just looks really weird.
I don't like the pupils.
Exactly, it's the eyes. It's just
honestly,
the eyes.
The only thing I didn't like about the character models was the eyes and how they could take like a section of their helmet off.
Oh yeah, those heads are gonna get nightmares.
That's a pretty creepy.
But yeah, I guess other than that, they all look. They look pretty okay. They look shiny. They had the silver chests. They all look generic, and they're using 2.0 armor for some reason. Even though that's been obsolete for how many years has it been? 3 years.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make them look like their minifigure counterparts, and I guess they do a decent job. but Rocka's face, I'm not sure if any of you noticed, his helmet is completely butchered for some reason in this episode, and he has the weirdest square jaw. And that's not how it is on the minifigure. Why is it there? I don't know. It makes no sense.
Well, you see, that's his secret weapon. He's gonna jaw them to death and then be raw from the jaw.
Oh no!
We should kick you out like right now. We don't need this.
Yeah.
We don't need
Imagine
this.
he puts a sword on his jaw and then it can be jaw blade.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So moving on. The heroes are flying in on their dropship, and they have a nice scenery shot, and they're like, "Oh, the city's getting destroyed," and they all hop out because Evo's there, and he's been fighting them off, and he makes a crack like they all went for lunch, and I have to think, what do robots eat for lunch? But then I have a flashback to the days of Breakout and the oil dogs.
Yeah, the hamburgers and like the oil dogs and all that stuff.
So I guess there's your answer. And their secret weapon for this special is the remote builder. This magical, unexplained tool which they bring in, and it somehow allows them to craft heroes, like right there on the spot.
Mechs,
whatever.
Mechs,
yeah,
not
mechs.
heroes.
Sorry, my apologies. Craft the mechs
Well, I guess they could build
by just
heroes. Creating
the parts out of nowhere. Even though I kind of thought the whole point of the Hero Factory was that they needed to have a construction facility. If they could just like blink stuff into existence.
I did notice that. They never showed where those parts were coming from. They just kind of appeared.
Although really,
it was pretty cool how they did put that in.
I will agree.
That,
I had no issue with the mech construction because it's all dramatic and they have, I guess, Rocka's building their mechs. But we're about to get to another issue I had. But it's like Rocka builds their mechs and he builds Stormers, and for some reason Stormer fails at it completely and he's mocked for it. But then Furno hops in and he's fine and he flies all around and
he does a Hero Factory mech move. Like the first backflip that Furno does instantly reminded me of a similar move that an Exoforce mech did in 2006 in an Exoforce short movie.
Was it River Dragon?
I was like,
Was it River Dragon?
No, it was back in 2006. It was during the actual first animation. Same character, ironically enough.
Oh, wow.
But it was like, Lego, this is what happens every time you do mechs with turbines.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is an issue I had. This is like another minor nitpick that it's like similar to the one I have with the Evo Walker, but I guess not as bad. I just have to mention it. So Rock is building their mechs. He builds Stormers. He builds Furnos. And Furno hops in and he flies around. This takes all of 2 seconds. He lands, and then Rocka is just there. His mech is not only done in record time, almost instantly, but he's invisible too. He walked a little bit of ways, and he just appears for shock value. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I got my invisible stuff, and I got my stealth machine." And I was like, "But how and where did you come from?" And then he says, "Evo, you need to stay behind to hold the line and build your own machine," which I guess takes an incredibly long time, even though it is only marginally bigger than the other mechs. And that just kind of bugged me. But I guess it's not as big of a deal. So then Breeze randomly is there, and she fights Flyer Beast. And I actually have no complaint with this segment. It was well done. She seems to be quite competent, even though she has no mech of her own. And she takes him down by tying him to like a building. And it was actually quite nice. It was one of the better animated parts as well.
Yeah.
Breeze gets a lot of time to shine in this thing, even though no one listens to her. We'll get to that later. So then they cut to Surge and Bulk standing there, immobile, about to be crushed by a giant blue tube that Jawbeast throws. And I get flashbacks to the second episode where there was Corroder there, and he throws Surge is about to get crushed by girders, and Bulk shoves him out of the way. But this time, instead of shoving them out of the way, Bulk is like, we gotta move, and Surge is like, there's no time. And they just stand there.
No. Hey, wait. Can I comment on something
Sure.
that happened earlier on?
Sure.
So I noticed you guys were talking about Raka and all that stuff. I'm not sure if you're at that yet, but Breeze. Everybody sucks except for Breeze.
I know. She's able to take down Flyer Beast with like no problem,
Okay.
even though she has no mech.
When I was still making comics, me and I had a couple guys known as the ICD. We were the best around. No one could yada yada yada.
That's a lie.
Anyhow, so Elder's is mad because he was excluded. Basically the deal was that we planned a Hero Factory parody series. Okay, well this parody series was like the deal was that like there would only be one capable hero called Sarah Quake, and her deal is that she was the only person that could do stuff, and everybody else would just like blow stuff up or like do idiotic stuff, and get her into more trouble, and she would be like the only capable one. I feel Lego has kind of they haven't stolen, of course, since nobody would have paid attention to our idea to begin with, but man, it's
That's
almost
pretty
like
much
our
the
ideas are
plot of
being
this
put on
episode.
screen. This plot of this
The
episode
overarching
is that
plot is Breeze is smart, everyone else is stupid.
Breeze is the only person capable of doing anything. Fun fact, we also had the bulk smash thing, and I guess I also thought that was cool too. But it was really fulfilling to write bulk smash in all our comics, and then suddenly, the brain attack bulk goes,
Yeah.
bulk smash.
This everybody is the person who says that his comics are the epitome of Breezy Powers comics form. I got.
Hey, so remember that horrible
Okay, so anyway.
pun that Elder just made 2 seconds ago? Keep that in mind. So anyhow, Breeze is able to take down the
Flyer Beast.
Flyer Beast.
Yeah.
Flyer Beast, my god. Flyer Beast. Single-handedly, not without a mech. Stormer goes up and he gets who is it?
Spoilers. We're getting there. Give us a second.
This entire episode is literally spoilers. That's the whole purpose of this.
Well, just wait. We're just about to
review.
get there.
Okay.
All I wanted to finish saying was Furno appears and saves them from the giant blue tube, and he fights Jaw Beast for about 5 seconds, and he shoots him with fire, and he holds him off. Then Jaw Beast lunges at him, and destroys the Furno jet machine. And I'm like, wow. You didn't even go up against a bigger villain. You went up against the small fry, and this is what happens to you.
I love that. Like, another moral of the story is that the mechs are totally useless.
Oh yeah,
They're
that's
completely
secondary
100%
plot.
useless.
Mechs are the worst things.
I feel we should have a mech count throughout this entire episode. Just every time you see a mech getting absolutely totaled, just go.
I'll save you the trouble.
One.
It happens to all of them except Evo XL Machine. But yeah, Raka appears and saves Furno, and then we get to the part where Stormer comes in and fights Jaw Beast, and he's like, "In the name of Hero Factory, freeze!" And then his arm gets chopped off, not Jaw Beast's, but Stormer's. So see ya, arm. And then he fights Jaw Beast, and then promptly gets destroyed and taken captive.
Got a code 7, or is it a code 9?
Yeah.
The only one that's able to defeat their villain is really Breeze. She does it without a mech, single-handedly.
Like both Stormer and Furno went up against the same person, the smallest villain, and they both get totaled.
And their mechs, mind you. Breeze has no mech. Stormer and Furno, in their giant robot mechs, just end up being battered and die.
Yes. But yeah. Stormer fights Jaw Beast, gets taken captive. Breeze is like, oh, well, Stormer's taken captive, guys, we gotta go help him. And none of the others come down to help her. And a bunch of people come out of the crevice. and she kind of has to get the heck out of Dodge. But in the background, while she's standing there surrounded, there's a hilarious Easter egg, and it's the Hero Recon team. The poster, which was on the website of the Hero Recon team guy, Merrick Fortis, it's on there, and the caption is "Action Movie of the Year. We come in pieces."
Brown. It's kind of clever.
I found that pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually was pretty funny.
And then we cut back to Raka, and he's swatting jumpers away left and right. And for a second, I'm like, wow, he's actually doing pretty good at fighting. What a surprise. And he takes one and he puts it in the obtrusive, ugly container on the back. And he is checking something and examining it, because I forgot to mention earlier when Breeze was on Flyer Beast, because Breeze has an ability, she can talk to animals. They actually play off that in this special quite a lot, especially near the end. And she's examining Flyer Beast, and she realizes these guys are communicating with each other. And I guess Raka didn't believe her, or wanted to double check, because nobody listens to Breeze or trusts her word. So he's like, oh yeah, Breeze was right, guys. They are talking to each other. But then, because he felt like he had to double check this, the captive jumper then promptly destroys his mech. One jumper takes down the mech. And I just sigh. But before I even have time to process it, they cut, and Furno is suddenly in a completely different area of the city, and there's fire and the sun is setting, and he's being chased by Splitter Beast suddenly, even though Furno was right there a couple seconds ago getting saved by Raka. And Furno lures Splitter Beast to Evo, who is building his machine, and he engages in an epic fight. And I actually liked this whole segment. I have nothing really to complain about the Splitter Beast versus Evo XL fight. I thought it was well handled. And Furno helps with the chain,
for the ending.
And there was set relevancy because of the chain. And Furno and Evo, they were friends and breakout, and Furno was helping him out, so it's nice that they're a team. And Furno's like, I tie him up and you knock him down, and they high five. And he's like, that's what I call a chain reaction, ha ha ha. And then, wait a second.
That's an elder right there.
They temporarily forgot, I guess, that they're fighting Splitter Beast. And guess what he does? He splits. And the small dude grabs Furno, and he walks away. And Evo's like, no, Furno, I'm coming to help you. And he trips over this chain and falls down.
It was really funny.
It was pretty funny.
It was sad watching such a incredibly foolish hero do foolish things like a foolish fool.
Yep.
But it was funny.
Whip, slash.
Yep. And then I guess Breeze was smart.
Yeah.
And she called for backup while all this was going on. So we have 20 or so drop ships that are coming in with heroes, or knowing the Hero Factory, more Evo walkers to fight these people. And that gives the heroes a chance to go down underground to save their friends. So we're 11 minutes in, and we're already in the Somersets period. So the first wave,
well, to be fair,
above ground.
It's a 22-minute episode, so 11 minutes in, half the year. It's kind of appropriate.
This is a bigger picture thing, which I'll talk about at the end, of why it is such a disservice that this has been reduced to 22 minutes. It used to be 88 minutes, and then it went to 44 minutes, and now it's 22 minutes. But yeah, they did okay, and they go underground, and they theorized that the tunneling of the drill woke up the creatures, and I'm like, no duh. And then, I forget if it was Raka or Evo. I think it was Raka. I don't know, because the voices aren't distinct enough for me to tell who's talking half the time. And Raka says, we're going to need battle machines better suited for fighting down here. So what do they build? Giant, unwieldy, slow, multi-legged walkers.
And I love that, like,
Wow.
again, Breeze goes back and she's like, oh, look at these ruins. I think they're telling us something dangerous. Oh, get down here,
Yeah,
Breeze.
stop,
We don't need to look at
with
that damn little
stop with your archaeology.
rock
Somebody
drawings. Yeah. That's literally the quote. Stuck with your archaeology.
Yeah.
So done.
So they're building their stupid walkers, which are slow, and I don't see how they'd be any more useful to maneuver around underground in uncharted territory. But they all have walkers now except for Rocka, who has this weird climber machine, and it has like chainsaw hands. And it's really weird because it has no cockpit. He's just kind of out there, unprotected. So what's the first thing that happens is a jumper hatches, and he gets attacked, and he almost gets destroyed. I thought they were going to blow his machine up, but he smacks it away with a chainsaw, and I have to wonder how that was able to defend against one jumper when his larger, more powerful stealth machine couldn't fight one jumper. But moving on. Bulk has a drill machine, and he drills stuff for them. And then one time it goes terribly wrong, and the heroes discover a magnetic field and like gravity disruption, which causes Surge and Rocka to get sucked in somewhere, and Breeze, Bulk, and Evo to fall down a giant pit. And Bulk they're all falling, and Breeze is like, oh, I'll hook you onto something because I guess she has a grappling hook, and she's trying to hook all of them together as they're falling to save them. And Bulk says, oh no, I can't make it in time, I have to eject from my machine. And he ejects, and it gets destroyed. But then Breeze is trying to pull them up, but they fall down anyway. And somehow Evo and Breeze's walkers are fine, whereas Bulk's had to get destroyed.
I didn't get that either. He makes a big deal. He's like, all right, I'm gonna do a double eject, and he ejects like his cockpit.
Yeah.
And like he ejects himself from the cockpit, and he grabs, and I'm like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. And they're like, oh, we're dropping anyways, and they're completely fine. And like, not only are they fine, the hero, not the mech, the hero, just makes the landing perfectly.
Yeah.
Bulk just slides. I don't get that. But you know, hey, you know.
But there goes another set. Adios.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, while all this is going on, Rocka and Surge are having a predicament that also made no sense to me. So they get their machines are getting stuck to magnetic rocks, right? And they can't move. And Rocka was trying to shoot people, and his gun was even magnetized to the rocks. But why weren't they? Aren't they robots too, made of metal?
Yeah, you know, that's. I don't get that at all. Maybe it's because it's the Quaza or something.
Is trying to do this thing where they have the pupils, and they're trying to portray the heroes as people, and they're trying to make us forget that they are robots, but they're robots. This is Hero Factory. We build heroes. Or have you?
Yeah.
Anyway, they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and Rocka almost gets taken down yet again before Surge saves him. Isn't it? However, right after Surge saves him, Rocka's legs get crushed by a giant rock, so that was great. Another machine destroyed, and Rocka says this hilarious thing. He's like, my legs! Yeah. My legs! Oh, wait, my machine's legs, not mine. I laughed at that.
That was actually kind of, some of their writing, it's when it's trying to be, a little funny and clever. It is actually, a bit more funny and clever than ever Hero Factory shorts have been.
Yeah, definitely.
The deal is that, sorry. The deal is that like a lot of the other dialogue just falls flat. Like they're not trying to do anything with the dialogue. They're just trying to carry it on. It feels
like the Mari commercial dialogue. And I'm going to get to this later. I'm going to draw some parallels to stuff Ghost has done. It seems like... I don't want to spoil it. I'll save it for later, my grand revelation. So I guess Surge's machine is conveniently a combiner. Like he predicted this kind of thing would happen. And Surge is like, oh yeah, we'll hop in, Rocka. I got this epic combo mech. And Rocka's like, great, this is amazing. And he hops in, and a rock comes out of nowhere and blows it up.
I love it. They're like, don't worry, this is combo. All right, activating combo mode. Smash.
So another set half destroyed, but I guess because it's a combo, Raka now has the jet portion, which can split away, and Surge gets taken captive by one of the red beasts. And Raka's like, don't worry, I'll come save you. And he's like, if I can just generate enough thrust to escape the magnetic field. And I'm like, okay, have fun with that. So meanwhile, with the other group of people, they're running down a bridge, and we have these giant azure beasts which come up, and Bulk takes down 2 of them. 2 of them! With no weapon. Whereas the other heroes can't seem to do much of anything. So Bulk is probably the second most useful besides Breeze.
But Breeze regains her usefulness like you would not believe.
Oh yeah, right next. Because Breeze warns everyone of acid as they're running down the bridge. However, this was one of the Breeze's dumb moments because she's the only one to fall into said acid that she warned everyone about. But even she can make mistakes. And she then ditches her machine, so that's another machine down. And the heroes blow up the bridge based on her suggestion. And then Bulk is like, nice thinking, Evo. And I'm like, what? Breeze told you to blow up the bridge. Evo was doing nothing at all. What? So Evo attacks the queen. Well, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. They stumble into the chamber. And dun dun dun. It's a nest. And there's the queen beast. And this beast is a queen. And there are eggs. And the heroes and a bunch of civilians are in said eggs. And basically they're trying to rescue them. And Evo starts shooting the queen beast. And Breeze tells him, no, don't. We don't want to make her mad this soon. And he does it anyway, and he doesn't listen to her. And what happens? The queen beast comes down, and it smacks him around a little bit, and starts going nuts on Evo. Tries to push him into acid, and he can't seem to do much of anything. And then here comes Bulk, and he's like, don't worry, Evo. I'll shoot her off of you. And he gets kicked away without any trouble at all. And then Evo's back to struggling. I'm being pushed into the acid. Then Raka comes flying in. Don't worry, Evo, you've got air support. And Raka gets like punched out of the sky, and he crashes. And then there's Evo back wrestling, almost getting pushed into acid. And then Breeze is like, okay guys, I have a plan. Aim your weapons at the strands holding up the nest, like strands of webbing or whatever, but don't fire. We just want to intimidate her. And Bulk is like, you kidding me? And he fires. And it saves Evo from being pushed into the acid. And he like ditches his machine, but it makes her mad. And she goes nuts on Evo and Bulk once more. Because Breeze is trying to get them to stop and just intimidate them so they'll let them go. But they blow stuff up and it just makes her mad. And she's flipping out. And they're getting owned. And then people just keep ignoring Breeze and making stupid decisions. However, Breeze is using her ability to communicate with the Queen and telling them, look, we don't want any trouble here. We just want our friends. We're going to leave and we're going to seal the place up.
Yeah.
And
make sure nobody bothers you again. Everything will be fine.
And the other heroes finally listen to Breeze and the Queen down their weapons.
As a call of good faith, the Queen goes up and she calls all of the spiders and stuff that are attacking everybody on the surface. She calls all of them down, and they all crawl down. They're all like sitting around the Queen.
Yep. And all is well.
All is well. They're like, we don't need to fight.
Until a
and everyone's like,
jumper accidentally shoots off one of the heroes' guns, and it hits the webbing. Oh wait, no, I'm skipping an important bit.
No, yeah.
I'm skipping an important bit because they get their friends, and Stormer's there, and he's like, I'm so weak. And Bulk's like, don't worry, we brought a medi transport just for you. And it's this giant blue tube, and he puts Stormer in the tube. And I guess some of the other heroes have their own tubes, even though they didn't show any more tubes being brought.
Yeah. That was kind of weird. I don't know where they got the tubes from. They're just gonna like, oh, conveniently,
Yeah.
we have tubes.
But wait, the plot thickens with the tubes. However, a jumper accidentally shoots off one of the hero's guns, and
Well, they don't really shoot off. I from what it looked like to me, someone like one of them dropped it,
oh yeah,
and like the gun, like
it stepped
one of
on
them
it and
dropped
it
the gun.
accidentally shot off.
Yeah.
Because the jumper stepped on it. And then the Queen Beast's obviously like, these dudes are double crossing me, and she flips out and she starts shooting at everybody, and everybody's flying around, getting smacked around, and nobody can seem to do anything or fight her. And then she grabs Bulk, and Stormer gets out of the tube, apparently perfectly fine. It instantly healed him, and he says, "Don't worry, Bulk, one good save deserves another." And he presses a button on the tube, and suddenly it has rocket propulsion. And the tube shoots and hits the Queen Beast in the chest and frees Bulk, and he goes sliding down the crevice, and like the Queen Beast falls because she gets hit by rubble. She drags Bulk with her, and like the Spider Walker falls as well, and everybody's standing up, and they're like, "No, Bulk, you're dead." And
For like 2 seconds.
suddenly, here he comes on the Evo Spider Walker, which I guess can fly. But why didn't they do it before if it had the ability to fly?
I have no idea. Why did they fly out of there?
Why do they make these slow, multi-legged turrets that have the ability to fly, and they don't?
Why don't they just fly all the time?
What?
Why don't they just fly all the freaking time?
Why did they make Frodo Jet Machine if the rest of them can fly?
I know, right? Okay, so I want to recap what's happening here.
Yes.
Okay.
Please do. And also, LJ.
So the heroes get down to the platform, and the Queen's there, and Breeze is like, "No, guys, I've got this," and they're like, oh, they're like laughing and joking at her. She's like, "No, seriously," and she's like, "Just please, just call your things down. We don't want to hurt you. We don't want to hurt you at all. We'll just leave." And the Queen's like, "Okay," and she calls. To her credit, she calls her, and they just dip the frenzy. Like, "All right, we're gonna go. We're gonna seal all this. Nothing ever happened." And then they drop the gun. And it hits one of the vines. And then all the other heroes are like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll commit genocide."
Yeah, forget this.
And like I love, like so Breeze has been like, "No, we won't hurt you. You know, we just want to get our friends." And as soon as that vine goes off, they're like, "All right, let's get." They killed the mother beast. They basically let the entire thing fall into the acid, meaning that almost all the other little creatures got killed as well.
The actual platform, I do not actually believe the nest ended up falling. And
no, it looked like it.
Even if it did,
And
there were still hundreds of jumpers and beasts still running amok. And that's a plot. That's something I want to bring up in a minute. But continue.
Okay, true. But I mean, like, it's like they do this and they're like, "No, we don't need the fight. It's okay. You know that we'll just leave in peace." And then they're like, "Oh nope, joke. We're gonna actually kill everybody." I found that like it was absolutely hilarious.
It was a pretty funny twist.
Solved the entire situation single-handedly, and it looked like everything's going to go okay. And then like instantly they turned from "Don't worry, we can we'll just go right" to like "We're gonna just kill everything." And I actually enjoyed that a lot.
It was pretty funny.
I thought it was really funny how they went. It was like it was some really black comedy, for a Lego thing, and it was just I as much as I say Breeze is the most capable hero, I am really tired of that whole we don't need the fake generic kid crap stuff. I'm glad that they're like, "No, we actually kind of do need the fight. We're just gonna kill you just because we can." I thought that was an interesting twist. I don't know if it's the best twist, but it was a really interesting one.
I didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it either. And then, all right, so finish it up, myself.
Okay.
Last scene.
So the grand conclusion and the part I didn't really understand. So they're suddenly on the surface. They suddenly got back throughout an acid bridge, which they had burnt, which they had like shot down, magnetic rocks, which they only got through because of powerful thruster boosts on like the flying machine, and a cave system which they'd like blown up, and there was surely rubble everywhere. So ignoring the logical flaw of how were they able to get everybody up there, although Bulk does make a line, ever hop on the flying spider walker, could it really carry everyone? And how would they, well, I guess if it can fly magically, they could get back up past the bridge. But that begs the question, why didn't they do that before? But I'm going to try not to think too hard about that. So they get back up to the surface, the tunnel is sealed, and there's civilians partying, and they actually went through the trouble of designing a bunch of new civilians just for that scene, including a mayor with a Hero Factory suit, which I would kill to get my hands on. But my question is,
right?
what happened to the rest of the beasts and the jumpers? Because there were quite a lot. Like, I guess they sent in a bunch of hero teams. They probably could have defeated them. But the hero team we saw is supposed to be the best of the best, Alpha 1, and they were struggling all the way through, completely inept, barely able to do anything, and they had, like, the highest tech. I don't really think some no-name B-lister team would have fared any better. Probably would have fared worse.
Well,
So, where did they all go? Does anyone have any idea?
Yeah.
No.
I honestly don't. This is kind of a big plot hole, but
it just gets
how it is.
more of a plot hole because they're all taking off their helmets in the hero craft to reveal their creepy faces, and Surge makes a comment and he's like, "We'll never have to deal with those cocoons ever again," in the most non-subtle voice ever. And I just knew the moment he said that, oh no, they're not gonna do this for 3 years in a row. They can't. But true to form, they pan, and there's a cocoon in the hero craft. So they're not gone. They're still there. So this is the state of Hero Factory right now. And that was the episode. We're going to give final thoughts in a second. But I just want to say this. We are at the point where every year, for 3 years, we have had 3 completely unrelated cliffhangers at the end of these episodes that seemingly have no relation at all to either one. Let's give a refresher. We had Von Nebula stealing the HF blueprints to make a villain factory. We had there being, the brain threat isn't over, there's a ton more underground. So everyone thought invasion from below, maybe they'll follow up on that, maybe these things are the brains. There's no connection to the brains. They never mentioned the brains. They look nothing like the brains. So the brains are still there, and they're going to come back and destroy stuff. And now these guys, whatever you call them, the beasts, the jumpers, I don't know, they're still here. They're closer than the brains. They're in the hero craft. They're going to disable that thing on the way back home and send all the heroes crashing to their deaths. Quite likely. However, none of that will happen because they're not going to follow up on it. I heavily doubt they will at this point. And with that being said, what did you think of the episode, guys? Who goes first?
Well, it was gorgeous.
LJ, Kahi?
Yeah, let Kahi. Let Kahi go first.
Okay, Kahi, go first.
I mean, like, alright. So the visuals were just amazing. I like Ghost a lot in terms of their animation skills, and they really shone here. Like, you can see, even though the models look a little weird, everything else is very, very well done. A lot of the stuff with the general framing of things, the backgrounds, how smoothly everything looks, how it looks it feels much more cinematic, and it looks a lot. I just looks a lot better. I think it looks best out of any single Hero Factory, especially we had so far. The faces are just they're really off-putting for me. Everything else, there's a lot of really great screenshots where we stuff here. So I'm very proud of that. The plot was also really kind of funny.
Hold it, pause for a second.
I thought I had a lot of...
Your audio quality just went nuts for some reason, and you're very inaudible.
I think all like 4 people in my family are all wanting to watch different movies at the same time.
Well, that would be why.
So I'm not sure where it is. So wait, I wish you could.
We'll just continue, I guess.
Like, end up
You were talking about the plot.
Yeah, the plot. Okay, the plot is only. The plot's okay. They did do some, some interesting things and some black comedy, that kind of deal. I thought it was, the plot could have used some work, but all Hero Factory plots could have used some work. The voice actors, I did not mind, honestly. I thought a lot of them were improvements overall. And I guess most of nobody will say that a lot of bigger characters lost. I don't believe they had any character to really begin with. So I honestly would rather want to see a team unit and a team adventure, kind of like this, they seemed a bit more official in what they did. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like they seemed to be like, they radioed back and forth. They had, official terms and all that stuff.
Shame it
They
didn't help
cut
them.
a lot of the useless chatter, except for when it really mattered. But I don't know. I do not like. I don't want to see, not really different personality. I like to see different. I'd love to see different personalities, but I don't want to see archetypes. I'd never need to be faceless. If if you're gonna make them faceless, just make them faceless. Don't be generic about it. So that's my opinion on that. I thought it was. I would mark this down as the best one I've seen so far. I loved how it looked. I enjoyed. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it a lot. And it was a nice tie-in to my own comic concepts, or the ICC's old comic concepts. I had, not a lot to deal with them in the beginning, but hey, they were very fun to work with. I'm very, yeah, I'm just very pleased of how this episode turned out.
LJ?
Well, honestly, I'm a little bit more torn than Kahi is. The animation, of course, goes without saying it's superb, and I expected absolutely nothing less from Ghost in Advance, especially considering they worked a little bit on Pacific Rim, which I've seen. It looks fantastic. I haven't seen it. I've seen parts of it, and the animation looks good. Aside from that, the voice acting, it's tolerable. I miss the old voice actors and the distinction that they were given, and it helped a little bit with their personalities. It just felt like an extended Tomari commercial. It felt like a really long Hero Factory commercial, only
You spoiled
instead
the
of
big thing.
Oh, you already said that earlier.
I know, I'm joking, carry on.
Goodness gracious. And but the thing is, instead of new from Hero Factory, the heroes upgrade to new powerful battle machines. It's new from Hero Factory Mache. Heroes upgrade to new origami machines, where their battle machines are the consistency of paper and get torn to shreds.
Yeah.
So, pacing seemed pretty quick, but the action was really fast. The dialogue was quite lame and stale, but for the majority, there was a lot of funny slapstick. A lot of the humor was kind of actually pretty good. But all the heroes, goes without saying, they're morons.
Where would you rank this?
Probably least second to last, if we're counting what's it called, Ordeal of Fire.
Okay.
Really? You would rate it that? What is your first then?
Breakout.
I'm not gonna say exactly the opposite because I enjoyed Breakout a bit, but this one is definitely at the top of my list. There's no contest at all.
Breakout. Well, okay, here we go. because I've saved myself for last, because I think we're at a bit of an interesting point here in this coverage where we're going to get some role reversals, because I'm usually the one that's very positive about Hero Factory stuff. LJ has been a fan of the theme, but he's also been critical of it. He's been in the middle. Kahi has been a follower. I wouldn't exactly call you a fan. You enjoy the special. LJ finds it okay. I think it is terrible. I would say that it is my least favorite out of them all. If it weren't for Ordeal of Fire, which felt just as rushed as this without the visuals. And here's why. I see a lot of people over the years, and they say Hero Factory is just a glorified TV commercial. The specials, they're just glorified commercials. And I've never really understood that. Because the HF specials, they're not works of art. They pale in comparison to Ninjago, or even Chima on a good day, and they basically are their main goal is product placement. However, they tell a story from start to finish. They have some bits of character development. They have the character traits come out, especially in Breakout where we had the whole crew together for once. Well, not in the special, but the line as a whole. Brain Attack was a little bit more on the side of the spectrum, but it did have Bulk doing his thing, getting some spotlight, clearly defined characters, even if they are stereotypes, doing their own thing, working as a team. Breakout is my favorite because it seemed like they were building to an overarching plot, which is what Hero Factory needs to set it apart and make people realize, this is a theme, this has a story. It may be a bad story, but it has a story. And Brain Attack and this episode have taken it 2 steps in the wrong direction. Because I realized something while watching this. Ghost doesn't do specials well. Ghost does commercials well. This is what Ghost does. Put the sets on the screen in amazing visuals and have the couple fight scenes that they can do in a montage. And it looks great. It gets people excited to buy the sets. Our job is done. That's why the trailer for Invasion from Below was so impressive and got everybody so hyped. And then you watch the show, and it's a disappointment in every single regard. The sets appear on screen for seconds at a time and then get destroyed. The dialogue is forced, contrived at times, even though some of the humor was good and I did laugh at it, so I can't completely fault it for that. The pacing is some of the worst I've seen. They just move from location to location. Like, suddenly all Furno's in a different part of the city after 2 seconds. Rocka constructs his mech in no time at all and is just standing there doing stuff. It just felt rushed. I would say there was no reason for this to exist if it weren't for the fact that, okay, there was a story that needed to be told, even if it was a completely filler side arc that has nothing to do with anything. But I did not... See, I'm trying to figure out how to word this because I did not loathe it. I enjoyed watching it. I've seen some terrible stuff. This is by no means the worst I've seen because at the end of the day, at least it does look nice. But there's something missing that the older episodes had and that this one does not have. And it's not the voices, and it's not anything else. It's hard to put my finger on what it is. I'd probably need to go rewatch the others. But this did not feel like a special or a movie or anything. It felt like product placement, nothing more. It's a side arc that didn't need to be told in the first place. And honestly, the visuals are not enough to save it for me. I think that if anything were to put the final nail in HF's coffin, it would be this special. No plot development at all.
I'm not going to disagree with a lot of what you say, but I am going to say that I find every single one of the Hero Factories has that same thing, but worse off in that regard. I feel like all of them had stories that needed to be told. All of them had very poor pacing, very poor dialogue, very poor humor, very poor characters overall. It was just very poor. And this, and granted, I will, I'm not going to say that Ghost doesn't have, the invasion from below doesn't also have all these problems, but I feel like the humor is a bit, in a lot of places is a lot more bearable.
It's the same quality of humor as Brain Attack. The deadpan slapstick one-liners.
I would say I enjoyed the humor in this one a lot more.
You call that a fist?
Okay, so
now this is a fist.
The amount of funny moments in this episode I've written down in a bullet point list. This is what I found amusing in this episode. That's what's called a chain reaction. Terrible bad pun. My legs. That was funny.
See, that was funny.
Breeze being smart and everyone else ignoring her, which I don't think was intentional humor.
I think it was.
Don't worry, Evo.
Intentional humor.
Don't worry, Evo. You've got air support, and then I'll shoot her off of you, Evo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. There was the Easter egg with the recon team. I found funny.
What was the beginning?
The beginning.
I
found it funny how Evo Walker got instantly destroyed, but I don't think that was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be dramatic.
It's the guy where he's like, I'm okay with not having it.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Like a trade tunnel named after me.
That's true.
Yeah, I found that pretty funny. That kind of thing is like I never saw that originally Hero Factory. The fact that they included that in there at all was a step up for me.
There's plenty of stuff which I could point out from any of the specials except for
like what?
Breakout.
One example.
I need to go rewatch them. Its Rotor is obviously the most famous one. Oh, it's my first
job. That was unintentional.
Another one.
I guess a lot of it's unintentional.
A lot of it is unintentional.
This is what we were saying.
What I'm talking about is a very intentional and actually kind of funny, not really sophisticated, but it's a more complex joke. It's not really slapstick based. It's obviously not the best of jokes, but I feel it's a step up from everything Hero Factory has before, outside of the intentionally funny things.
I would rather. I see. I guess that's where we differ, because I'm one of the people. I never enjoyed Hero Factory when it started to take itself too seriously, because it is not a concept that can be taken seriously. It is a ludicrous concept. We build heroes, and I thought it was best in the original days where they had like the Hero Factory FM stuff with like the radio, and they were being self-referential and doing mocking parody-ish things. And just owning their cheesiness. That was how they did it well. Ever since Breakout was the intermediary point where they tried to do a plot line for the first time, and I guess it didn't go so well because they never followed up on it. Brain Attack and Invasion from Below are trying to do it differently, where they're telling serious stories, but Lego, and I guess this is where maybe I'm being too critical on Ghost, because had this episode been 44 minutes long, they probably would have done it a lot better. But it's Lego that's cut the budget for Hero Factory and reduced it to only 22 minutes a year. Whereas Savage Planet, Breakout, Rise of the Rookies had like 4 times as much. Ordeal of Fire was the only one before Brain Attack that was 22 minutes. So it seems like after Breakout, they're trying to squeeze all this stuff into like 22 minutes. And obviously there's not enough time to do better pacing and do all this crazy stuff and cheesiness, so they're trying to slip these jokes in amidst casual conversation. And yes, I do get a chuckle out of it, but I
will give you, because Hero Factory FM was one of those things that you knew it was being intentionally funny. It was being intentionally cheesy for the rid of it, and I never got that so much with the Hero. I feel like they were being unintentionally cheesy. And that's what kind of gets me. If it's intentional, I mean, obviously there's some stuff that's just so bad it's good. Hero Factory never really hit that factor too much. It was just really, really cheesy. The specials, at least. FM was deliciously cheesy and embraced it, and I loved it for it.
And then they can't.
And the musical, like the end. I mean, it was legitimately funny stuff too. Like that musical, that's funny. That is like that is what it.
United. Spirit of the team, hero. Oh, wait, no, evil never triumphs over hero. Anyway.
Oh man, like that was like that's comedy gold. I swear that was great.
What if it's comedy silver?
Anyhow, but the deal is that I'm of the opposite opinion, in which like Yeah, not so much that I appreciate the idea of Hero Factory. It's a rather kind of one-sided concept. But there were many, interesting themes that were beginning
Yeah.
to be explored in the books and so on. I think the concept can, if they want to, be approaching a serious matter. They're just kind of writing. They don't know if they want to approach it seriously or not. What the deal is that I don't think the original ones were intentionally cheesy.
I'm not saying
I
they
don't think
are
they were
either.
at all.
They had some moments where
But
they were, but all in
they did
all,
have some moments.
all in
But
all,
all of it, like I guess,
I'm probably being too critical on Ghost because the reason the original Rise of the Rookies wasn't as bad is because it was 88 minutes long and split into 4 episodes. So no duh, it's going to be a better told story because they have more time to tell it. You know,
I guess so.
no wonder they have
I mean,
more
like,
fleshed out
yeah,
characters because they have time to develop them.
they have time to them. Yeah,
It's
I'm pretty
Legos
sure that
that
would have
have
happened too.
the budget.
Yeah, I think Legos and all, but I also think that I think the reason for me this one stood out the best is not just because of what they've done, film with him, on the budget they have, and all that stuff, but because I feel like it is no, it doesn't, it's no, it's all the stuff that's bad is just as bad as any other uh, Hero Factory special, but the stuff that's good is amazingly
I
good.
wouldn't say
I cannot.
amazingly good to
I,
anything.
I
None of those
cannot.
jokes were rolling on the floor laughing.
I can't get. No. I mean the animation basically. The
Oh,
animation is just miles beyond anything that the what was it, Tinseltown? Tinseltown Tunes did with I mean, like it's.
you may label me a fool, and you'd probably be right, but I would rather they not have gone to Ghost if we could have kept the voice actors and had a story like Brain Attack, maybe.
Oh my God, that's so.
I
That
would
is one
enjoy
of the
it 10
most
times
foolish
better.
things. Foolish whining is a foolish fool. I would not have enjoyed that at all. I would have actually probably skipped out watching this
You
new one.
enjoyed Brain
I
Attack
had it
just
like
fine.
I enjoyed Brain Attack because of what's it, the bulk smash and all that stuff. But really, I had to convince myself to keep watching Breakout because I just got too bored with it. It was just I was lying. I didn't enjoy Breakout all too much.
I
Back
guess
in review, and
the point I'm really
Santa
trying to
knows.
get at is it seems like it's just I wouldn't say it's been watered down because as you say there wasn't much there to begin with. But we are at the point where I firmly believe it's on the cusp of cancellation. And it's devolved into glorified commercials rather than actual specials
It
anymore.
was always a glorified commercial. For me, it's
That's
a
not
really
enough.
good looking glorified commercial, and that's what matters to me.
Well,
Animation stands out like just. I mean, it's
that is
everything at
perfectly
its
fine.
finest.
If I was still making music videos, I'd probably love it because I could do crazy stuff. But
There were a lot of great things, but
I've clung on to hope since 2010 that Hero Factory could be turned with the right care into something not necessarily Bionicle level, but better than what it was at the time. And I've hoped this for 4 years. Last year was the first strike. This year is the second. Then the
ah,
2015, it's going to be
so
canceled when they and
you
by
have,
this year. No,
I was going to
not this year.
say,
Last year was the first 2 strikes. Number 1 was Brain Attack. Number 2 was them canceling the books. This year is the 3rd
you know,
strike. So 3 strikes,
you know,
you're out. I give up.
I was going to
I've
question.
resigned myself.
I would question this more, but then I realized you like Ace Attorney Investigations the best out of
That's not
the Ace
true.
Attorney
No,
series.
I like Trials and
No, I guess not anymore.
and then Dual Destinies.
But, bro, what else? What else? What other popular opinions did you have? Did
Uh,
you like?
for the longest time, I like The Legend Reborn the best out of the Bionicle movies.
Yeah, the Legend of One Best of the Bionicle movies. What's your favorite year of Bionicle? Like 2009, right?
Sets is concerned, yeah, 2009. Story, 2006.
Okay. Well, see, Meso used to be like the epitome of very poor taste, and I think this
I
is
have
something
controversial
I
opinions.
feel later on. Well, I feel later on in life when he is older and wiser, he will look back and realize, no, you know what? I think this special was the best special of them all because I cannot.
I am not. I
can
can
understand Elder's opinion, in which he doesn't like it.
I am not a child that can be appeased by good visuals. I must look beyond. I would have expected us to be on the opposite side of the spectrum here.
Oh,
You're
no,
being
absolutely
super
not.
critical.
Animation. I'm always super critical of stuff, but this did nothing wrong that Hero Factory has not done wrong already, and it's done better than anything Hero Factory has ever done.
That's already a crime if they haven't improved and they're just stuck in a rut of storytelling. That's another thing.
The storytelling. I bet you the storytelling. I think is more of a Lego thing. I think like Lego's restrictions are what.
I don't fault Ghost for it because this was just as bad in Brain Attack.
Yeah, but oh man, I can't get over how much better the animation was. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed watching it the entire way through. I had very good visuals. It looked better, felt better. I've been singing Ghost's praises ever since I saw the trailer, and I will continue to do so. This is and will forever be the one. And of course, it was much shorter than like Rise of the Rookies or whatnot, so I didn't have to sit through a bunch of stuff. But man, this was the best. This is the best around. Yada yada, etc.
I am very happy for you that you were able to take that away, because all I can think of is my dreams are crushed, and I'm resigning myself to the fact that the theme will probably be canceled in 2015 and will go down in history as wasted potential. So this is Messinac, resident Hero Factory fan, signing off with a broken heart and crushed dreams. Goodbye, everyone. And thank you for watching.
That's
Invasion from Below. The Invasion from Below episode coverage.
One that feels rejuvenated and excited after watching such splendid animation.
I thank you all for watching this coverage. Go check it out. Post up in the comments with your thoughts. Let's get a dialogue going about this theme. So, thank you all for watching. We will see you all in the next video for the channel and our continued coverage of the Hero Factory Invasion from Below website update with the Let's Play of the game and assorted other things. So, goodbye. I'm Messinac.
I'm LJ.
I'm Kahi.
And see you all next time.